Hi everybody, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Zsuzsi. How are you all doing today? In today's video, we are kicking off the Best of 2023 series, starting with the top 10 best cover designs for the books that I read in 2023. And it's not enough that I only selected 10 books, and it was hard. I also ranked them. And this is something that kept me up all night, I'm not gonna lie. This video is all about the cover and the cover design. It's got nothing to do with the content, though I will tell you the content of every single book, but it is about the jacket design. And yes, like sometimes I am shallow like that. We've all been there, we've all done cover buys. And I want to give a shout out to the cover designers because they all contribute to the success of a book. Just like I said, this is a top 10 video, so in detail we will only discuss 10 books, the top 10 books, but please, please, let me to do special mentions because I need to. And I cannot believe that some of these books that I am going to mention now didn't make it to the top 10. I cannot believe it, but that's how it is. So the first special mention, and here there is no order. First one is Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas. And the next book is The Center by Ayesha Manazir Siddiqui. The next is Episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. And last but not least, Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. Alright, but now let's get to discussing the top 10. Book number 10 is Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. This book is just a little novella in the Crown of Nyaxia series, and this is something that Carissa Broadbent self-published. So for those of you who don't know what Carissa Broadbent's Crowns of Nyaxia series is about, though that would be super surprising because The Serpent and the Wings of Night, that's been like everywhere on TikTok, on Bookstagram, on YouTube, everywhere, and everybody seems to love that series. But still, just in case, if you don't know what that series is about, it is an epic fantasy romantasy series that centers around vampires and humans. And in the first two books we follow Oriah and Rain, but in the second book we have two characters who are also center staged, the vampire Vale and Lilith. And they were my favorite characters in book number 2, but I always do that. My favorite characters, I always side characters and very rarely the main characters, and I adore them. I adore Vale and I adore Lilith, and I had to know their story, and basically that's what this book is about. And I'm not gonna say too much because that would be a spoiler, but the fact that Lilith is a scientist in this book, this is my favorite book out of the 3 books that's been published. So, but just like I said, this is not about the content, this is about the cover design, and I think that this book is next level. Number 9, and again, just a reminder that this is about the cover and not the content, but number 9 is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Now this book is not a good quality book. This book is a very bad quality book. I think it looks amazing. I think that nobody can deny that, but the quality is really, really bad. This thin papers, they really make reading into a chore, and there is also misprinting in my edition. This is the edition that was printed in Italy, and I heard that this is the problematic one. Anyways, while it's not the best quality, I think that the cover design and the design of the book itself is top-notch. This is not my favorite romantasy series. I feel very meh about this series, and in every single video I describe this series as meh. I really need to work on my vocabulary, okay? I just that's how I feel about it. Both Fourth Wing, and then this second book was just okay to me. I enjoy the world because I enjoy the drama, and I don't have to say that I enjoy the dragons. I am reading this book because of the dragons. And again, for those of you who don't know, this fantasy romance follows Violet Sorrengail and Xaden Ryerson. They are our main love interests, and they are dragon riders who are going to a military school. Obviously, there is a bigger plot to that. What? We don't really know. And that's one of my biggest issue with this book and with this series, is that the plot is not going anywhere. We also got no character development in the second book, so it's really hard to review this one. I hope that we will get some answers in the upcoming, only God knows how many books. Apparently there are 3 more coming. I hope that Rebecca Yarros will take a little bit more time to publish his books so that we can avoid the misprinting issues and we can avoid the editing issues, and maybe we can, you know, just make this series a little bit more substantial and better quality, literally. Regardless, Iron Flame number 9, I have to give credit for this design. That rhymed! Number 8 is The Things We Do to Our Friends by Heather Darvant. Now, I picked up this book in spring while I was in London because I wanted the UK edition, and this is something that was a clear cover buy for me. This is a debut novel of the author, and she lives in Edinburgh, and the whole story takes place at the University of Edinburgh. And because I am in love with Edinburgh, every time when I look at this book, every time when I think of this book, it brings back memories of the trip. So I have a special connection with this book. This book is super unique, and every time I have to speak about this book, I struggle. And all I'm gonna say here, and I think many of you will understand me, that this book is Bunny 2.0. So if you enjoyed Bunny, then go and check this book out. It's all vibes, all atmosphere, no character development, no plot or very little plot. It's all about vibes. And because we have no plot in this book, I'm struggling to describe this book to you, but I'm gonna say that our female main protagonist is Claire, and Claire is French, but for some reason she moved to Scotland. She moved to Edinburgh. She studies at the University of Edinburgh, and she's trying to make some extra money by bartending. She meets a group of friends and somebody named Tabitha, who is super charismatic, and she wants to belong with those people, and she would do anything to belong with those people. But her new friends come with a cost, because Tabitha and this group of people are working on a very special project, and they want Claire to participate. I don't think that this book is one of the best books that I've ever read in my life, because I am unfortunately not somebody who enjoys only atmosphere and nothing else, but still so weird because this book is still with me. Okay, number 7, and I am going to cheat a little bit here. Please allow me to cheat here, because I just cannot make this decision. This position goes to 2 books in the Throne of Glass series written by Sarah J. Maas. First is The Tower of Dawn. I mean, come on, look at this cover design. And then the second one is Empire of Storms. And again, can we just look at that cover design? Like, how? How could I make a choice between these 2 books? And with all honesty, I think that the covers in this paperback series, every single one of them is exceptional. But these 2 are my favorites because of orange because of purple. I really like these colors. And just a little bit of description for those of you who don't know, The Throne of Glass is the first epic fantasy romantasy series of Sarah J. Maas. It's a 7-book series that apparently she started writing when she was 16, and first the chapters in the first book she actually published them online before she was able to get a publishing deal and publish them traditionally. And honestly, every single time when I think about it, it blows my mind that Sarah J. Maas started writing when she was 16, and look at her now. And this book is following Selena Sudotian, who is an assassin. This is obviously a very poor description of this series because it's 7 books long and the last book is like 1,000 pages long. So obviously I am not doing a really good job here, but that's all you have to know because everything else would be a spoiler. But this is my least favorite series from Sarah J. Maas because I am an ACOTAR girly. I cannot deny that, and I won't. Still, she builds such an original and unique world in this series. I thoroughly enjoyed, and her characters. I adore Sarah J. Maas's characters because the character work that she puts into her books, honestly, next level. And number 6 is a reread this year, and that is Zsuzsi by Madeline Miller. I mean, come on. Just look at this cover. How can you not love this cover? And how can you not love this book? This is one of my all-time favorite books. And this is one of those rare cases when the book is beautiful outside and inside. I really like feminist Greek myth retellings because I just love that they give voice to women who were done wrong, and they give agency to characters who were given either no agency or the wrong agency. And if it is done by Madeline Miller, she is one of my authors. In this book, we follow Zsuzsi, who is introduced to us as a nobody. She is a goddess because she is the daughter of the Titan Helios, but the mundanity of her voice, it makes her a lesser goddess in the other gods' eyes. She discovers pretty soon that she possesses the power of witchcraft, and everybody is afraid of her powers. I mean, she does something really stupid because of a man, so you know that doesn't help her situation. But because everybody is afraid of her, Helion takes her to a deserted island where she has to live alone for the rest of her life. And you know, we're talking about immortality, so. On this island, however, Zsuzsi really becomes herself. She becomes one with nature. So it ends up being not a prison, but a paradise. And eventually, great many people and heroes will come her way. This novel at its core is nothing else but the exploration of the voice of women in Greek mythology, and also just in general the voice of women. We see her suffering and learning and slowly growing wise. And on top of this, the book also expands on some universal ideas like what is forgiveness, is it possible to forgive, how it feels like to search for love in a loveless world, and finding the most ultimate form of freedom. If you really want to be happy, and if you really want to be free in life, you have no other choice but to be yourself. All-time favorite. I will never stop talking about this book. I will never stop raving about this book. Also, the design is amazing, and of course that helps. I love it. And number 5 is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. And this is something that took me by surprise. This book is so good, and I adore this so much. This is one of those rare cases when I love the US cover as well, but I think that the UK cover is just a little bit better, a little bit nicer. And also for the second upcoming book, like that UK cover, you cannot beat that. It's impossible to beat that. So this is a book that I ordered from the UK and I am so incredibly happy with it. This book is about Emily Wilde and she is a woman in academia. So again, to me, it was no brainer that I had to pick up this book. The time is 1909, so the whole book got a little bit of historical feel to it, which is something that I really enjoyed. And we follow Emily, who is a professor at Cambridge University, and she studies the Fae and she is working on this encyclopedia of fairies. So we spend a lot of time traveling with her and reading her encyclopedia entries. Basically, that's what this book is. And it took me by surprise completely how much I loved Emily's character. She is one of those typical misunderstood characters, misunderstood heroes, and I adore her. I also like the love interest in this book, Wendell. He is everything that's Emily not. So, you know, we get a lot of banter, which is something that I tend to enjoy in my romantasy and also in my contemporary romance, so I loved it. But what I love the most about this book is probably the dark Fae culture, because Emily is studying the hidden ones, so it is very far from that typical Sarah J. Maas kind of Fae, like, you know, Cassian. No, it's not about that. We got no Cassian in this book. No. These Fae are super dark, and this is the true Fae culture. Like, mythologically speaking, this is how we describe the Fae. Super dark, super tricksy, super pranksy, making deals with you all the time that's not good for you, that only serves them. And you, in general, have to be very careful with these Fae. And I adored the darkness of these creatures because it was like such a breath of fresh air to the fantasy world. I love it. Honestly, I see why some people don't like it, because it is just encyclopedia entries, so I understand why some people might think that it is a little bit boring, but if you haven't read this book, please give it a try. I don't think that you will regret it. And number 4 is Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon Maguire. This is the second book in the award-winning Wayward Children series. I have no idea how many books are in that series, but around 7 or 8, and I haven't read all of them. I've only read 3, and this is the second book that follows Jack and Jill. And I think that it's not enough that the content of the book is exceptional. I thoroughly enjoyed. This is a very short book, basically a novella, but what Shannon Maguire did in this book is mind-blowing. But also, look at that cover. I mean, come on. This book and this series of novella, we can basically describe it as a portal fantasy that follows children into fantastical worlds. Each of these worlds matches that child perfectly. It is very specific for that child, so when they have to come back to normal Earth, they feel very much out of place. And these novellas basically just tell the tale of growing up, how it feels like to enter adulthood and to lose the luxury of idealism in life. All right, now the runner-ups, because we are entering the top 3. And number 3 is Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. We all know that T. Kingfisher is one of my favorite authors. She is one of my auto-buy authors. I don't care whatever she's publishing. I am buying it, I am reading it, and I also have to go through her backlist. She is something else. And it's not enough that the cover design for Thornhedge is top-notch. It was the author herself who illustrated this book. Just look at the inside. I mean, come on. Look at that design. Look at the chapter headers. I mean, come on. This book, short as might be, it is one of the best quality books that I own. And this is basically just an other dark fairy tale retelling, T. Kingfisher style. That's all I have to say about this book. I cannot say much because again, it's very short. This is a darker tone retelling of Sleeping Beauty. It is a typical T. Kingfisher style of humor, T. Kingfisher style of darkness and twists and feminism. You have to read it. Okay, cover design number 2. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. When I read this book, I knew that this book was gonna be on this list because to me, this cover design is everything because of the colors. When you put orange and purple, orange and darker blue on the same cover, you have me. I am going to buy your book. Unfortunately, this is one of the books that I didn't really like this year, and I think that this is gonna be my last Riley Sager for a while. I really like Lock Every Door. I really like Home Before Dark. I haven't read any of his other works, just this one, and it was unfortunately not for me. This book got a dual timeline. The first one is 1983, where we get introduced to Kit, our main character, one of our main characters, who is a caretaker, and she unfortunately loses her job. So she is forced to be a moved in or in-house caretaker of a lady named Leonora Hope, who apparently killed her entire family in the 1920s. Nobody was ever able to prove that she did it, but Leonora definitely has a story to tell. After reading 3 Riley Sager books, I am at the stage where I can definitely see this typical Riley Sager formula, you know, the dual timeline or the gothic atmospheric, usually house, like in this one, Lock Every Door, Home Before Dark, you know, it's all a house basically. And he always has, and this is something that really annoys me, he always has these very stupid, silly, and trusty female characters that in my mind absolutely don't make any sense. So I think that this is gonna be my last Riley Sager for a while, and the next book that I read from him will be probably like a book that everybody loves. I am definitely going to wait for the reviews to come out before I pick up a new release from him. And this is not just about the Riley Sager formula, but I also really didn't like the ending of this book. I cannot even say that. It's the last 100 pages that I just couldn't follow. It just got way too twisty and unrealistic for me, so I didn't enjoy. And the number 1 book, and this is something that's not gonna be a surprise to many of you who have been with me for a while, because I just cannot stop. I cannot shut up when it comes to this book. The number 1 place goes to Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. And this is again the UK cover. Let's not talk about the US cover. I do not want to talk about the US cover. I ordered the entire series in hardback from the UK. That's how freaking obsessed I am with this design. And it's not just about the jacket design. It's also about the inside of the book. I mean, come on, it was worth every single penny that I paid for this book. This book is first in a trilogy that's already been finished this October. And the jacket design for all 3 books, honestly, are excellent, but for some reason it is the first book that is just very, very dear to my heart. Once Upon a Broken Heart, the entire trilogy follows Evangeline Fox, who makes a deal with the Prince of Hearts, Jax, to save her love. And then she very quickly learns that bargaining with the fate was probably not a good idea, because Jax, well, He's got some plans for her. And I adore this series. I adored the characters. I really like Evangeline. I really like Jax. I really like the side characters as well. I am enjoying the world. The world is something that Stephanie Garber is still building, and there are many more books coming up in this series. So, you know, she is raising certain questions that we are not getting answers to just yet. But still, I absolutely adore this universe because it's so magical and it's so enchanted. It is like reading a fairy tale. Curses, the potions, the prophecies, and the true love being the end of it all. It is something that really vibrates with my hopelessly romantic heart. So I eat it all up. I love it. I adore it. The jacket design, the book itself, the story, the content, the characters, the universe. I am head over heels for this. Now this is it, guys. This is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed spending some time with me. Before I let you go, please let me know in the comment section below what were your favorite covers for 2023. Have you read any of these books? Do you have the UK cover? Do you have the US cover? What do you think of my list? Hit share, like, and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't already done so, you are welcome here. If you want to check out any of my videos, I will leave them on the screen, probably here and here. And I see you soon in an upcoming video, in an upcoming project. I cannot wait to share the rest of the best of series with you guys. Bye!